I just got done seasoning food, so I sound a little stuffy. But anyway, I used to work for this nanny family, and the mom was still pregnant when I started working. I found them on Nanny Lane, and on Nanny Lane, it was like a woman with a pregnant stomach, and I'm like, "Do you have a baby?" And she was like, "Yeah, like she's due in like a couple weeks or whatever." So I was like, she was like, "But we're just interviewing because when a baby come, we don't want to go through the process. Like we just want to enjoy our baby." I said, okay, cool. So they was like, they bring me in for an interview. They like, yeah, basically whoever we hire, we're gonna start paying them that day. Like when you go through the process of the background check and all that stuff, you're gonna get paid even though the baby's not here. But we're gonna pay you because we basically just want to retain you. We don't want you to go somewhere else because you have to wait for the baby to be born to get paid. And I was like, oh, that sounds good with me. So like we have a couple more people to interview and then we'll get back to you in like a day or so. I said, okay, cool. The dad chimes in the interview and he's like, her mom is coming and to stay temporarily, like a long time, but temporarily. She will eventually go back to where she lives, but she will come to help us as well with the baby. So some days you will come early. I mean, some days you will leave early and some days you will come late. Either way, we'll still pay you your full, like, guaranteed hours. You don't have to worry about that. We just want to let you know that her mom will be here. And the dad says sometimes her mom can be a little problematic. I'm going to tell you that. But now, the wife must have looked over at him like, what you mean my mom was problematic? He was like, she already thinks like it's her first grandchild. So she already thinks like it's her child. So if it's ever a problem or if you feel uncomfortable or she give you hassle, please let us know. Because we will try our best to, do what we can about it. And I said, okay. And then the mom was like, but don't let that, discourage you from accepting a job or whatever. And I was like, okay. So the couple of days passed and they're like, we want to offer you the job. Let's do, everything. And then when we run everything, let's come in, do the contract, sign it, and then you'll start getting paid. I said, okay. So the baby came like 2 days late. And so her mom's there waiting for the baby. I'm waiting to start with the baby. So I just was kind of going to kind of, get acquainted, help them set up little, this and that or whatever, and kind of get to know everybody since there was so much extra time. So the baby finally comes, and I didn't start until the baby was 1 month old. And so I go in at 1 month, and I'm like, the parents are like, at this point, like, we're so tired. Our mom has been such a big help, but I am just ready to give you the baby so I can get some rest. I said, okay. So everything was good for maybe like a month and a half. So that put the baby at what, like 2.5 months old. The grandma begins to say stuff like, oh, like, do you come every day? I say, yeah. That's what we signed. That's what I signed up for. But I was like, I mean, you may notice some days I leave early or some days I come late, to respect, your time with the baby and everything. And she was like, oh, I knew they said they were getting a nanny, but I wasn't sure that it was full time. And it was like, but she was like, because I moved here to help them with the baby. So I'm not sure why they hired you. And this me. I don't know. Maybe we should ask them because I don't know. So she's like, yeah, maybe we should. I was like, okay. So I called them over because they were still home, like still around. And I was like, hey, your mom was just wondering, like, why did you hire me? Because she's here. And the mom's like, oh, well, we hired her because she's like going to enrich our child. Like, you're going to be there to help us, like, emotionally and physically and do all those things. But Michelle is going to, like, develop our child. That's her job as a nanny. And like give her, enrich her with words and language, all those things like that will, as she grow up, she will have those things ready for school. And I look at the mom, like, you get what she's saying? So the mom's like, oh, like you didn't think I can teach her like how to read? You didn't think she was like, Mom, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Michelle is here as a professional. She's a professional nanny, so she knows what she's doing. It's not too much guidance we need to give her. She knows, milestones, all those things. So the mom's just kind of dismissed it like, oh, okay, whatever. And I'm just like, in my head, like, I don't know. This may be a short-lived because my contract was 2 years with them. But anyway, so the mom them finally go back to work. This like 4 months now. The mom go back to work. The dad goes back to work. So it's just me and the grandma in the house. And so at this point, the baby can definitely be outside in the sun. I mean, not too much sun exposure, but she could be outside in the sun. And so I set up this little tent that they had, like a beach tent that they had to go to the beach. I set it up for us to go in the backyard so she can just kind of do some tummy time and just be outside. So as I'm bringing her out of the tent so she can just be like in the sun, I see the grandma, she like taking a picture of it. And I'm not thinking anything. I'm just thinking like, oh, maybe she think it's so cute that we are sitting out in the backyard in a tent on the grass. I don't know. I didn't think anything of it. So next minute I know, I get a ding on my phone. And I'm like, oh, the group chat, it's the grandma. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, she must have thought it was cute and she's going to send it to the parents to show them like, oh, she's really interacting with the kid. She goes in the group chat and says, so did you guys know that Michelle leave your daughter out in the sun just for excessive time? Like, this is who you hired that was better than me? ? I'm looking at the text and the dad's like, you put this in the wrong group chat. Like, this is a group chat with Michelle in it. And she's like, I'm looking at the house, like trying to see if I can like see her. And she's like, she put LOL. I knew that. I knew she was in this group chat. And so she comes out and she's like, well, you know what I was trying to say. I don't give a damn what you're trying to say. I just sat there. She's like, well, I was like, well, what do you mean she's in the sun for an excessive time? I said, she was in the sun for like 2 minutes. Literally, I just pulled her out. I seen you take the picture. She was like, well, I've seen you out here for a while. I've seen you sitting in the backyard for a while. So like, she's been in the sun for an excessive. I was like, no, she's been in the shade, like under the tent. And she's like, I seen it. I'm seeing it. That's all I'm saying. I just want my daughter to see that I seen it. And it's me. Okay. We'll talk when your daughter gets here because I'm not going to go back and forth with you. She was like, I'm not here to go back and forth. I'm just going to continue to go play with the baby. At this point, I just took the baby out on a walk to get out the house, de-escalate. The parents come home and they're like, you know, Michelle, we're so sorry again. They was like, we have cameras all in our backyard because they had burglaries in their neighborhood. So she was like, we have cameras every inch of our backyard. So we actually seen that you had the baby in the sun for like literally a minute. Like we were looking at the time of when you took the baby out, when my mom took the picture. And when you look down and seen the text, it was like a minute and a half the baby was in the sun. So we don't watch you on the cameras. We just do it for burglary reasons. But we looked at it to just confirm that the baby wasn't just like sitting in the sun. I was like, I would never do that. She was like, I know. I'm so sorry. And I was like, you know what? I am also sorry, but I'm going to just have to give y'all my 2-week notice. Honestly, I don't even want to come back here. I'm going to be honest. I will stay until you guys find a nanny. Hope you guys can do that soon. Or I can leave and just let your mom do the job because I'm not going to keep fighting with her. It's not good for the baby and it's definitely not good for me. And she just was like, we can do something. Like, we can figure it out. Maybe you guys can like, and they're trying to come up with all these things. And I say, no, we can't do nothing. We can't do nothing because I'm not going to keep fighting with this woman. If she wants this baby, she can have this baby. That's it. And so the dad, well, both of them, the mom and the dad was like, you know, like, how are you going to pay your rent if you're just going to like leave? Like, at least let us like help you. Like, we'll just give you like wrap up like the rest of the month and like next month. So that way you can have some money like to pay your bills, whatever. They're like, we feel so bad. We kind of figured that, you know, she would be a problem. Like, and the dad was like, maybe we should just put her in like a daycare away from the mom and she could just drop her off and pick her up from daycare and they was like, because we want her to have the enrichment and my mom cannot offer the enrichment. I'm just like, yeah, y'all got to do something. But I'm getting up out of here. And I think I left like 2 days later. I didn't even leave the whole 2 weeks. And the grandma was like, yeah, I can do it. I could have did it in the beginning. I could do exactly what she do. I can go to the playground. I can read books. I could da-da-da. And so the dad stops the grandma and he's like, so what's a 4-month milestone? Like, what should she be doing at 4 months? The grandma was like, I mean, most babies are sitting up at that point, aren't they? I just said, see. And yeah, I quit because I don't want to beat up no old woman, you know?